Many books about the Roswell crash.
including the #1 selling Ultimate Guide to the Roswell UFO
Oh
Crash.
wow. Yes. So you're now I'm a guy, so I have my own I when I got here I saw two aliens and I already asked them, "Can I see your papers?" But they didn't want to show me. So what can I say? That's what I did, and that's why I'm a Trump supporter. And you're a Trump supporter too.
Absolutely.
That is
I
so
am
cool.
The strongest Trump supporter ever. I even donated to the wall. You know, there's a private effort to fund the wall.
Oh, please, yes.
I donated to that too.
Build the wall,
Yeah.
absolutely. I don't know if it'll keep the other aliens out, but at least it'll keep the earthbound aliens
the
out.
earthbound.
Oh, I couldn't resist. So,
Well,
Mr. Wilson, tell us about what do you know? Because I don't know a lot about the Roswell crash.
okay.
Yeah, so you're
July
the perfect.
4th, 1947, 10 minutes before midnight. The best theory we have that fits all the observations and all the evidence is that there were two alien saucers flying in very close formation, west to east across New Mexico, in a thunderstorm. And they smacked into each other. It could be that one or both was hit by lightning.
Wow.
They were already compromised by radar beams that we had on them, and that was no accident. In the book, we detail a
This
memo.
one?
Yeah, a memo from an FBI agent. It's called the Hotel Memo because the agent's name was Hotel. I wish it had been something else, but when you say Hotel Memo, people think of a hotel. It's not a hotel. That's just the man's name.
Okay.
But we have that memo to the director of the FBI at the time. This is at the time of the accident that summer, July, 1947. We had, of course, a new kind of radar here to track the missile systems. And we were doing missile testing in White Sands, just about 90 miles west of here. So this new type of radar was lock-on radar. So it's a constant beam on the target, and it provides constant data about bearing and distance and telemetry and speed and all that good stuff. Okay, this is the only place in the world that had that. We needed it for the missile systems. Also, we had the launch vehicles, what we call the rockets, and of course that was brought over after World War II in Operation Paperclip with Werner von Braun. I'm sure you've heard of that name.
This is the area where they tested the atomic bomb, right?
Yeah.
In Roswell.
Well, not in Roswell. This is where we had the bomb.
Okay.
After it was in production, we were the only atomic bomb wing in the world right here in Roswell. The only one. If you want good security, have an atomic bomb on your base, right?
Absolutely.
So
So what did the aliens look like?
Just the classic gray, 3.5 to 4 feet tall, very pale gray color, proportionally large heads and large eyes. But from research I've done before and after that, we're pretty sure that those big almond-shaped eyes, those are lens covers. Those are sunglasses.
Okay.
And we know this from an incident whereby a lady who was abducted regularly, she had been in contact with Daryl Sims, the one they call the alien hunter, and he's a hypnotherapist. And what he did was he planted a post-hypnotic suggestion that she didn't even know about. But the next time she gets taken or abducted, she was to rip off one of those lens covers and get a good look at the alien's real eyeball.
Wow.
And she did.
So let me go back to 1947,
Yeah,
that
back to
day.
1947.
So they crashed,
They crashed.
and they landed somewhere in 45 minutes from here or
Imagine
something?
this. We have two saucers flying in very close formation, maybe even an inch apart. It's a thunderstorm, and we have the three radar tracking stations, these constant beam radars, this lock-on radar, which we know from that hotel memo that radar affects the navigation or control systems on these craft. So the FBI knew about it even then, and that's why we think we were expecting something to come down. So then you have the two craft smack into each other over the what was then the Foster Ranch near Corona, New Mexico. they shed debris there, right over the ranch. One of the saucers, we don't know what happened to it. The other one made a kind of a touch and go. It dug out a 600-yard long trench on the Foster Ranch and got airborne again, and then crashed finally between Corona and Roswell.
Okay.
Of course, everything was brought here because of all the security associated.
Because the military
with the
base is here.
Yes.
Okay.
What became Walker Air Force Base was at the time Roswell Army Airfield.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
we had
so,
that crash.
so the aliens did they die in the crash?
We have reports that there were four bodies and one possibly surviving alien for a little while.
Okay.
And I have reports from multiple people, so it's credible to me that alien was in communication with James Forrestal, our Secretary of Defense. They brought him down to visit the alien, and it made telepathic contact with James. And one of the things he wrote in his diary was that that being told him there are more coming, many different races.
Oh wow. They wanted to colonize here?
Don't know for sure what the motive is. In fact, we still don't know, but we have on good authority, according to Stephen Greer's group at the Disclosure Project, we have cataloged 57 different species of aliens.
Where's the evidence?
Some of them are working with, reportedly, working with our people under the Pentagon. There's several secret levels below the Pentagon.
Oh wow.
And a lot of this is just unconfirmable. But what happens is if you hear the same account of something from different people that never knew each other, and they're very specific about certain details, you start to think, oh, well, there could be something to that.
Okay.
But so that's the deal on that. Now, what interests me is why were we expecting them? And what we have to do is rewind to 10 days before. I'm gonna a little dry here.
No problem.
It's okay. We're
There's your
rewinding
alien.
10 days before the Roswell crash
Yes.
in late June of 1947. A search and rescue pilot by the name of Kenneth Arnold was flying in Washington near the Cascade Mountain Range, and he saw several, I can't remember how many, maybe a half a dozen, but they were metallic discs flying along the tops of the mountain range in kind of an undulating motion. And now he knows the distance of that mountain range, and he calculated those things to go almost twice the speed of sound. We had not yet broken the sound barrier. Remember, that was October of the same year, 1947. This was back in June. This was before we even went Mach 1, and these things were doing Mach 1.75 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So he kind of figured, okay, that's probably not ours. And now remember, the Roswell crash hadn't happened yet.
Mm-hmm.
There was no official policy of ridicule and denial. In other words, there was no reason not to report what he had seen. So he told reporters when he got back on the ground, and it caused quite a stir. Now, then, that is what I think that is the reason we were ready for something to come down. We knew that this radar interfered with the control systems on the craft, and there was a prior arrangement. This is the really interesting part with the Air Force Base. Had prior arrangement with the sheriff here, George Wilcox, that if anything comes down that you can't identify, contact the air base.
Right.
And just the existence of this prior arrangement makes me feel like they were expecting something. It was no accident, in other words, these three beams on this craft at the same time.
Oh, I see.
They were trying to bring it down. So you've got that going on, you've got them flying in close formation, and then possibly one or both hit by lightning. And it's like a perfect storm, and it brought one down.
Now, what the aliens look like, this is based on the accounts of
Well, yeah. Now, as far as part of that, and really probably most of that information came out of the autopsy, and we've got a picture in the book. Maybe able to find it for you. You may want to pause for a moment because I have to take.
That's fine. I'm just going to take a look at some of the things around. Do they still have the festival?
Yes, every year.
Okay.
The weekend closest to the 4th.
Okay.
Unfortunately, the
July 4th, you mean?
Yeah, the aliens chose July 4th to crash here. If they'd waited 10 more minutes, it would have been July 5th.
Oh, wow.
Fine, but now so they kind of blended in with that. Okay.
Are we in Lincoln County now? Or which county are we in now?
We're in Chavez County.
Chavez County. Okay, got it. And this is what the saucers look like.
I can't see that.
This schematic section cut through the crater, Earth Station Roswell.
Oh no, that was an idea for a kind of a shopping complex. Here in Roswell.
Okay. A nice little space station.
Actually, we have eyewitness accounts of what the saucer looks like. Because they brought it in during broad daylight, July 9th, 1947, on flatbed trucks and all kind of Army vehicles. And they brought it in, and so we've got testimony from people that were working on the tops of buildings, roofing and that kind of thing, and they got a good look at the thing. Although it was covered by a tarp, they said it was about the same size and shape as a Volkswagen Beetle.
Oh, okay.
We had those in those days.
That's not too big.
Let me see. Here we are. I'm going to try to find Glenn Dennis and here we go.
So I'm looking at this poster behind you, and it says, "Are aliens demons?"
Oh, that there. I don't. Yeah, there are. That's one school of thought.
Okay.
I don't subscribe to that.
Okay.
But
so these conferences also allow people to kind of bounce off ideas what they think they are.
That's the thing there.
Got it. Okay.
Oh, this is interesting. This is Glenn Dennis. He was the one that.
Got it.
You got to read this story. It turns out that he was a mortician here in Roswell, and in fact he might still be alive. But he was a mortician at Ballard Funeral Home, and also an ambulance driver.
So he'd be like, if he's still alive, he'd be like
an airman
in the late 80s. Late 80s.
An airman had a minor motorcycle accident, and so Glenn went to get him with the ambulance / hearse, and took him to the base hospital. And when he got in there was a lot of activity. He saw ambulances down there at the ER filled with like metallic material and weird stuff.
Have there been future sightings of the aliens in this area since 1947?
The beings themselves, or
that, or the saucers, or both?
I know too much. There's things I can't say on camera. I worked at the UFO museum for 2 years.
Okay, that's just down the street, isn't it?
I saw things I can't talk about. While researching this book, in fact.
Okay.
If the question is, are we being visited? We're definitely being visited. Let's see here. I'm trying to find a picture of the alien. I know he's in here because we did the. That would have been. With the. Okay, I'm going home now. By the way, we got pictures of the crash site. In fact, ours is the only book that shows you where the crash site is.
Mm-hmm.
And we give you turn-by-turn directions, GPS coordinates, Google Maps of the location, everything. And boy, I tell you, we took some heat for that. There was some in the community that thought it should have been kept a secret.
Here, is this it?
Drawing
by Walter Henn.
There you go. Where
Page
are you?
99.
Shoot. See what happens when you get old. Yep.
That's
it.
And the idea is that that almond eye is just a lens.
Yes.
That their eyes are
That's
something
a
else.
fascinating story because this gal got abducted. She had that post-hypnotic suggestion.
Oh Lord.
She tore off the lens. She got the alien in a headlock. We're
Okay.
by the way, we're way stronger than they are.
Good.
I don't think they're up to this kind of gravity. They're just thin and little, and they look like they couldn't even move their own furniture. But she gets him in a headlock and tears
Take me
off.
to your leader.
She gets him in a headlock and tears off the lens and gets a look at his real eye.
Was it scary?
She said it looked like a stippled screen. I don't know if you do needlework, but dotted, like a compound eye. Like, you know, if you've ever seen a housefly's eye up close with the
Oh, okay.
lenses.
Got it.
That was, she said that's what it
Do you want to take a photo with the alien?
yeah, I guess. Or actually just holding the book, maybe. Or,
Sure. That's fine.
Something. All right. In fact, if you want, we can both get our pictures. And I'm sure Judy would be happy to.
Yeah.